Steve Irwin, nicknamed the Crocodile Hunter, was an Australian zookeeper, television personality, and wildlife expert. He hosted a number of crocodile-related TV programs, including The Croc Files, The Crocodile Hunter Diaries, and The Crocodile Hunter. On September 4th, 2006, Steve was filming the documentary series Ocean's Deadliest on the Great Barrier Reef. Production was delayed due to inclement weather. During the lull, Irwin decided to snorkel in the shallow water to gather footage for his daughter's television show, Bindi the Adventure Girl. In the chest-deep water, Irwin approached a 6.5-foot short-tailed stingray from the rear in an attempt to stage a shot of it swimming away. Justin Lyons, the cameraman, was the incident's only witness. As he describes it, all of a sudden, the stingray propped on its front and started stabbing wildly with its tail. Hundreds of strikes in a few seconds. Steve believed it had only punctured his lung, but the stingray's barb had pierced his heart, and he soon bled to death. Stingray attacks are incredibly rare. Only 2 people have been fatally wounded by stingrays in Australian waters in the past 75 years. Irwin's death is believed to be the only fatality from a stingray captured on video. Footage of the incident was viewed by Queensland State Police as part of their mandatory investigations. All copies of the footage were then destroyed. He's been dead ever since.
Why the fuck does this turtle have a backpack? It can't access it. It doesn't have any possessions which it could pack in said backpack, even if it had the ability to reach one's back. I would ask if the other fish put their stuff in the turtle backpack, but then I remembered that sea creatures universally can't understand the concept of storage, nor do they have any opposable thumbs essential in operating any such backpack. But it is fun to fantasize, you know? If we gave a turtle a backpack and items to put inside, and the know-how to successfully open and close said device, and the anatomic ability to access a knapsack attached so far from any of its limbs, what might it keep inside? Would it use 1 or 2 straps? And would this technological realization spark a chain of events that lead to an underwater upheaval in which the animals overthrow their captors, escape through the sewer system, and return to the wild after learning that backpacks weren't the only secret the humans have been hiding?
D'après ce que j'ai lu sur l'internet, 60% de l'ADN d'une personne humaine est identique à celui d'une banane. N'est-ce pas stupide? Les chimpanzés, nos plus proches parents vivants, sont exacts à 96% au niveau génétique. Voici un bref historique de la façon dont nous nous sommes retrouvés ici. Il y a 3,5 milliards d'années, le Big Bang s'est produit, marquant le début de l'espace et du temps. À moins que vous croyiez en Dieu, auquel cas rien de significatif ne s'est produit. La Terre a 4,5 milliards d'années et les premiers signes de vie sont apparus il y a environ 3,5 milliards d'années. Puis, quelques milliards d'années plus tard, le premier ancêtre de l'humain est apparu, en marchant sur 2 pattes. Ensuite, nos cerveaux sont devenus plus gros et nos mâchoires sont devenues plus petites et nous avons commencé à fabriquer des outils et à allumer des feux. En sautant en avant un petit peu, il y a 12 000 années, les gens modernes atteignent les États-Unis, à moins que vous ne croyiez en Christophe Colomb. Puis, comme dans le manuel d'histoire mondiale, la Mésopotamie arrive. En 1793, d'après ce que me dit Wikipédia, le tout premier zoo s'ouvre à Paris pour être vu par la royauté et les dignitaires français. Et maintenant, nous, la race humaine, avons réussi à capturer 1500 des 20 000 chimpanzés restants, dont nous, la classe moyenne, pouvons les observer lors de sorties scolaires. Et c'est la différence génétique de 4% qui nous a permis de faire cela. Nous avons tous les deux obtenu A+ au même test, mais nous nous retrouvons en se regardant de l'autre côté du vitre.
Fun fact, British entrepreneur and CEO of Segway Incorporated, Jimmy Heselden, died in 2010 from falling off a cliff while riding his Segway. Jimmy was riding on a path near his home when he reversed his vehicle to allow a dog walker to pass. The West Yorkshire coroner concluded that Heselden had, quote, died accidentally by miscalculating his maneuver and tumbling down the mountain. His mangled body was found next to his equally destroyed Segway, end quote. Shortly thereafter, Heselden's widowed wife sold Segway Incorporated for $75 million. A Shakespearean tragedy, a death by his own design, a tragic hero's tale. There are a million ways to describe the true irony of this poor rich man's fall from grace.
As you may know, on May 28, 2016, 4-year-old Isaiah Dickerson was visiting the Cincinnati Zoo with his mother. According to witnesses, he stated, "I want to go see the gorilla," and then climbed the wall, crawled through the enclosure's bushes, and fell 15 feet into a moat of shallow water. Harambe, the 17-year-old, 440-pound silverback gorilla, then heard the child splashing and went to investigate. According to zookeepers, he was disturbed by the panorama of screaming adults and started dragging the child through the water. Officials state they didn't shoot Harambe with a tranquilizer dart because they were afraid he would be confused by the sudden impairment and take it out on the child. Harambe then carried Isaiah up a ladder onto dry land, and a zoo employee was instructed by his supervisor to shoot Harambe once in the face with a rifle. So, he did. Cincinnati firefighters then arrived on the scene to lift Harambe's limp body off the boy, who was pinned underneath. Isaiah was then taken to Cincinnati Children's Hospital for a trauma evaluation, though he sustained no major injuries. Harambe, however, remains dead to this day.
Oddly enough, I actually have a good vulture-related story. In 2019, my cat Pi was diagnosed with the cancer. Coincidentally, on the same day, the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek, announced his own stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Therefore, my family started to wonder who was gonna die first. A few months later, Pi's condition dramatically worsened, and we all began to suspect that the end was nigh. A good indication of this was the number of turkey vultures suddenly surrounding our house. What I learned on Wikipedia is that when an animal begins decomposing, its body releases a bunch of chemicals, which attract scavengers. Another thing I learned on the internet is that a group of vultures is known as a committee. So with the valuable input from the Committee of Neighborhood Vultures, we decided as a family after 19 years it was time to retire my cat from his long career of existing. In Pi's youth, however, he liked to hunt the neighborhood creatures, most commonly chipmunks or smaller squirrels. One moment from my childhood I will truly never forget was looking into the backyard and seeing Pi sneaking up behind this big-ass bird. So he pounced and he latched on, and the bird panicked and tried to fly away. Pi, my household cat, managed to take over the vessel, learn to pilot the ship, and staged a Sully-esque crash, landing into the bushes. Of course, the bird was super dead by the time it reached the ground, receiving a ridiculous amount of impact. My cat, however, managed to walk away from ground zero seemingly unfazed, which made me think, how many times has this exact thing happened and has been forgotten by history because no one was around to acknowledge just how crazy it was? And then, of course, chronologically, Alex Trebek died, which thus answers the question of who will the cancer conquer first, my elderly pet or the host of America's favorite trivia game show.